Hey DCC, and welcome to another edition of Morning Coffee. This week I just got back from a men's event called Crucible, and so I wanted to talk to you about it just a little bit. I can't say much because most of it is supposed to be kept a secret, and I'm going to hold to that promise and not reveal too much. But one of the things that I want to talk to you about, whether you're a man and you need to go and you need to start your journey, and maybe you've been involved in a small group and you've done a few things, but there's some next steps that you want to take. I want to recommend a few today. But if you're a woman and you have a boyfriend or a husband, good friend in the church, you need to push, who needs to take next steps, I want to speak to you all today, because I want to talk a little bit about some of the opportunities that are here at DCC. And so what is, good next steps for a man or a woman to take? And so one of the things we always try to do is make sure that you are getting in some form of community. And so we want you in a group. And there's all kinds of groups that you can be a part of. You could be in a serve team, right? And so we have serve teams that serve every weekend, from greeters that are greeting people at the doors and handing programs out to people at the information booth. We have people working in the garage after the services. And after each service, we've got people working in the cafe. We've got people serving in our Discovery Kids ministry. We've got people serving in our students ministry. And so there's tons and tons of serve opportunities. There's also, facilities. So cleaning up and making sure everything stays clean, making sure the tables stay wiped down and stuff like that. So there's just a ton of things that you could do to be part of a serve group. And it is a very cool community to be a part of. You get to serve alongside other people, and sometimes it's something you can do with your husband or wife or significant other, right? You guys can serve as greeters and be near each other. And so there's lots of benefit to doing that. And it helps the church, and it helps us have, a great weekend experience and offer that to people who have never come to DCC before. But of course, there's more than that. We have all kinds of groups. So right now, launching in February, there's going to be Tuesday night groups, and they're going to be meeting, I believe, 6:30 p.m. And there's all kinds of groups there for open groups that you can go through, for couples groups. So there's a men's group, a women's group, a couples group, and there's just going to be a lot of activities centered here at the building at DCC starting in February. So pay attention, look for the announcements, but there's going to be some groups that are kicking off in February on Tuesday nights, 6:30 p.m. Then, of course, there's Wildheart groups and Captivating groups, and they're launching, pretty much every month. And so if you want to join one of those, and if you're a woman, you're in our community, we would highly recommend you get into a Captivating group if you haven't already, and really digging into that thing. We think of the three circles: discover your story, experience Jesus, and live on mission. And Captivating is really going to help you kind of dig into that story element of your life and figure out what some of the woundings and some of the things that are in your past and how that's affecting your present. And then kind of prepare you so that you can kind of heal those wounds and let Jesus heal those wounds, and prepare you for the future. So that's a big opportunity, and we really stress it. That's one of the first steps that we'd love for you to take, is to get involved in a Captivating or Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart for men, Captivating for women. In addition to that, there's life groups, right? Forming a group of people that you've maybe gotten to know here, or going to the garage and signing up for a life group, and then we'll group you together. But being able to develop and form a life group. And this is a group that lasts for a long time. It's a closed group, so you're not adding people to it. It's not, some people come and then leave and come and leave. It's a group that stays together, does life together, and they continue on. So they're committed to one another, and it's going to be a very safe environment, one that you can share and do life together and encourage one another, okay? And so life groups are huge, and it is our ultimate goal to have you in a life group. And so that's one of those things. I know it's hard. You got to get to know people and start to develop friendships and see what opportunities are there. But we really, really, really highly stress we want you to eventually get into a life group. And so that's super important. And so then, of course, there's different things that you can kind of get a taste of as you can go to, the men's retreat, and you can go to the women's retreat, and you can start to hear from men and women who've gone through Wild at Heart and who've gone through Captivating and done things, and you're going to benefit to go to those events too. And so that's a great way to meet people, develop friendships, be in cabins or suites next to one another, and really get to know somebody. And so really, kind of working on your spiritual life, but also building a sense of community with men or women in those contexts. The other thing that we have are these opportunities to do a Wild at Heart boot camp or a Captivating boot camp, and those are special events that are offered throughout the year, and you have to go to the garage, you have to kind of sign up and express interest, and it is just it takes the Wild at Heart and Captivating experience to the next level. And it's something that we highly recommend, especially if you want to get more involved here and be in a bigger capacity in volunteering and teaching groups and different things like that. The impact that it will have on your life and the ability to kind of really take a weekend and just work on you, leave work behind, leave family kind of behind, just take all that and just focus in on you and your walk with God and your heart and where it's at. I can't recommend any higher than to do a Captivating boot camp or a Wild at Heart boot camp. That said, there's kind of a next level. So if you can check all those off the list, yep, I've done Wild at Heart, I've done Captivating, I've gone to the boot camps, and so I'm set. Then what is there for you? And for the men, there's this opportunity to do Crucible. And Crucible is a very intense weekend. And I can say, and this is just me speaking, I just came out of last weekend and I was at Crucible. And for me, Crucible was probably one of the most challenging moments of my life, because it really made me work on some things and think about some things and think about my past and dig into it. But I have to be honest, and I'm not being hyperbolic, and I'm not being exaggerative, but it was the biggest life-changing event that I've experienced. And it's because it doesn't stop after the weekend. There are commitments that I made that I'm keeping that are starting this week, because I made some decisions to make some changes in my life, and those decisions are being, I have somebody holding me accountable to those, and so I'm trying to grow my walk in that way, and I'm trying to work on me and trying to be the best me that I can be, right, and partnering with Jesus in that regard. And so Crucible, if you have never done it and you're a guy, man, you owe it to yourself to get there and participate. Now, prerequisite, you need to go to Wild at Heart Bootcamp first, because you need to learn about story and digging into story. You need to learn about those things first, because then Crucible is really, really, really going to hit home for you. And so we have a recommendation, kind of a prerequisite, that you go through the boot camp first, then you go to Crucible. But if I could just encourage you, if you really want to take, your spiritual walk as a man, and you want to be a better father, a better husband, just a better man, you want to really deal with some of the stuff that's been nagging you and dogging you, and try to work on your heart and your relationship with Jesus, and really deal with some things, Crucible is absolutely the place for you. And it's going to be challenging, it's going to stretch you, but it is going to benefit you in so many rich ways. So let's kind of recap. We've got all kinds of opportunities, right? We've got serve groups, we've got Tuesday night groups launching in February, we've got Wild at Heart and Captivating groups, we've got boot camps that you can go to, we've got retreats that are coming up, and we've got Crucible for men, and we have some ladies right now, I think, that are going to test the ladies version of Crucible and kind of check that out and see what that's like. And if we get a thumbs up from those ladies, then we'll start recommending that as well and pushing you there. And so we're really excited, because life isn't supposed to just happen on the weekends and you come here and you worship with Wade and the band and then listen to Greg and then check out and go home and that's it. We really want you in community. We want you with other people. We want you doing life together with people who can encourage you to work on you and you can encourage them to work on themselves, right? And you can be there for one another, and you can have this sense of community and safety. Your story truly can be safe in those groups. You can really just express some deep-rooted things that are in your life, maybe stuff that you've never shared with anybody, but now you got this core group of community that's around you that you can feel comfortable sharing with and work through some things that you needed to work through years ago. I can't recommend anything in a more I can't be too exaggerative. I can't emphasize it enough. I really want you to take next steps. So if you have questions about any of those things, if you want to really get into community, build friendships, then go to the garage after any of the services, talk to them, express, hey, I heard Pete on Morning Coffee, and I want to know more about any of those things, okay? And good grief, I've got a big beard, I'm a big dude, I'm usually at every single service, so if you want to, just come and tap me on the shoulder and ask me, and I'll make sure to point you in the right direction and get you set up on that regard. But so think about that today. If you're not in community, if you haven't taken those next steps and you're just coming on the weekends, then I strongly, strongly, strongly encourage you, please take a next step and get involved in community and group, okay? All right, have a good day.